The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. I'm Elder Rick Yar here with our weekly Patreon update. I would like to say shalom to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. Come on in. We won't be here long at all before transitioning to Patreon. Shalom to my brothers and sisters out there going into the Sabbath. For those who are overseas already, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you're having a blessed Sabbath. How you doing, Guardian Angel? I see you're present. The Guardian Angel is present. Giovanni, how are you? Carla. Latoya, NASA, how are you? Beath. Giovanni, again. Grace Above Gold, how are you? Ahab. Karab. Denise White. Shamika, how are you? Kizzy. Man. Kizzy, that name resonates. Roots, anyone? Kayem, how you doing, my brother? How are you doing? I hope you all are doing well. Just jumping right in for a weekly Patreon update. And we're going to be talking about something that I'm sure everyone have their eyes on right now. Is Trump purging America? Right? We're going to talk about that and much more. And also, we're going to answer any doctrine questions that anyone might have going into the next Hebrew and Bible Academy. So if you have any questions concerning the doctrine, prophecy, whatever the case might be, you probably want to enroll in our Patreon. Through our Patreon. It's only $5 a month to get the exclusive content. Okay? All right. I'll see you there. Thank you, Amath. Thank you. I must have Bishop Amath on the mind. Thank you, AC. I'm all set up for Patreon. All right. Let me make sure I have the Zoom link ready because you all know what Blog Talk is doing right now, right? So we're going to have a little face-to-face Zoom interaction. I already have that set up. We're going to talk about what's going on with Trump. And we're going to also talk about prophecies concerning what to do to navigate through Jacob's trouble. And if any of you brothers have any questions, any brothers or sisters concerning doctrine or anything else, here's a time to speak directly to the elders of the Gathering of Christ Church. And you'll be doing this via Zoom. And after this, subsequent to this, you can segue over. Of course, Elder Ramar will be actually dealing with his broadcast this evening on Rumble. That's right. Speaking of coming out of Babylon. All right. Jumping right in. I'm going to make the announcements in a moment. But let me put something out there real quick. All right. Real quick. Let me put something out there for you brothers and sisters. Why? And especially you sisters out there. All right? Especially you sisters. Don't allow the mainstream satanic media to lie to you. I haven't been hearing anything but lies since these raids began from CNN, MSNBC, Reverend Al Sharpton, and others. Okay? When Trump signed the executive order to get rid of DEI in these areas of federal and all these others, this has nothing to do with the civil rights legislation that was signed in the late 60s. That's a lie. And they keep saying this. He's doing away with the civil rights. That's a lie. DEI undermined the civil rights, hijacked the civil rights under Barack Obama. They stole civil rights. DEI was more so something to embolden white liberal crazed women and also LGBTQ white men as well as lesbian white women. DEI never benefited our sisters. Now they want to cry to our sisters in hopes that our sisters is going to save them. Sisters, aren't you tired of being used by everyone? Don't fall for this. If they really cared about black women, our sisters, the daughters of Zion, then our sisters wouldn't have the lowest level of income within the United States. Okay? Our sisters wouldn't be at the bottom of everything. If the Democrat Party or DEI or others actually cared about them. If they're the base of your party, if they're the backbone of the Democrat Party, shouldn't they be getting more than any other group within America? When it comes to being what? Incentivized by the Democrats? I know if the person is doing right by me above everyone else, I would make sure that person gets more than others. So sisters, don't believe this lie they're claiming. The Bible tell you in the book of Job, they are forgers of lies and they're using your sympathy. They're tugging at your heartstrings to utilize your political ammunition. Okay, you have political clout that you have no idea how much political clout black sisters Judah has here in America, and they've been using this for gay, lesbian, and women, liberal white women, gay white men, and everyone except our sisters who are suffering. And that's why they put out that lie that Trump signed something into law to get rid of civil rights. That's a bold-faced lie. And sisters, don't support any of them anymore until you are prioritized first. And the only way they can show their appreciation to you is that your income is above any other people over you. That's including white women who benefit most from affirmative action and DEI. That includes gay white men. That includes gay white women. That includes gays in general. And the straight black woman is on the bottom of everyone. She comes last to the gay black woman in our society when it comes to any benefits given them. So I'm here to say, don't believe the hype. And speaking of don't believe in the hype, right? Let's see what happened 2 years ago. Fair use for educational purposes only. Fair use. Look what happened a couple of years ago, folks. Don't let them lie to you, okay? They are forgers of lies. Look what happened a few years ago. And this is what Trump got in front of. And you know what? I totally agree with what he's done here, okay? Not that I agree with everything that he's doing, but right here, I agree with this. But check this out. Look at Weekend at Bernie's here. Fair use.
No one more qualified to lead the proud women and men of the Coast Guard, and she will also be the first woman to serve as Commandant of the Coast Guard, the first woman to lead any branch of the United States Armed Forces, and it's about time.
That was President Biden last week introducing Admiral Linda Fagan as the newest Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard. As he said, she is not only the first woman to lead the Coast Guard and its 42,000 active duty members, but the first woman to lead any of the U.S. military branches. Admiral Fagan graduated from the Coast Guard Academy in 1985, just 5 years after the Academy started graduating women, and has spent nearly 40 years in the Coast Guard, serving on all 7 continents. And Admiral Fagan joins us now. We are honored to have you.
Hey, folks, I need y'all to check out her eyes. This is the woman that the Democrat Party, if you believe Biden had anything to do with this, you must be out at lunch with him, okay? But anyway, this is the woman they put over the Coast Guard under the DEI mantra or banner, okay? Check out her eyes, folks. Look at her eyes.
Have you on our show this morning. Congratulations. And I think I would like to take another moment to talk about the historic importance of your new role. When you graduated in 1985, there were 16 women total who graduated. How are those numbers now? And
who cares about whether or not there were 16 women? We want men. Men are supposed to protect the country, okay?
what would it take to help more women get on a track like yours?
Look at her eyes.
Hey, thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here with you this morning, and thanks for having me. The Coast Guard Academy has changed significantly since the time I was there in the mid-'80s. We currently have nearly 40% women enrolled at the Coast Guard Academy. I'm really excited about.
Now, is this the traditional woman we're talking about here? Look at what they did 2 years ago, right? Fair use. Look at this person.
About the talent and the diversity that I see coming through the academy. My daughter is in the Coast Guard as a lieutenant, and there is just nothing.
Look at what's going on. The whole world is seeing what? Weakness. Her daughter's in the academy. This used to be men celebrating their sons joining the armed forces, folks. Now, what we're seeing is exactly what was signed in an executive order to get rid of. It has nothing to do with civil rights, folks.
Nothing but opportunity for her and all of the men and women that have joined the service. I'm really excited about the future as we look ahead.
You know, Admiral, it's so interesting. We were talking to Mark Brzezinski, Mika's brother, a year or so ago, and he was talking about when he was an ambassador in Sweden, he would go to meetings across Europe.
And this is fair use for educational and religious freedom, all right? The freedom of religion also, because we're Bible-based people and we are against sinful natures, okay? We are against the sinful natures that's getting promoted over our people in the community. What they didn't tell us is that DEI undermined civil rights, and all of the money that was allocated to protect and help our people went to them. So get rid of DEI already.
And on the American side of the table,
and God is against diversity, equity, and inclusion. God is against it. Because what are you including us in? Sin. The Bible says to Hades with diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All men.
Get baptized. Repent.
In these military meetings. On the European side, he said a lot of women. And he just said it was really striking in those rooms to see how the United States was so one-dimensional in its approach. And he was talking about how you could really see the difference in how both sides operated. I'm curious, in the future, in those sort of meetings, what do we gain by having leaders like you in there that in the past?
Absolutely nothing. We gain absolutely nothing having leaders like her.
Have been shut out from taking lead roles in the United States military.
Now she's going to tell us the benefit of her leading men, right? In the strongest country of the free world. Now let's see her benefit.
Yeah, you know, diversity matters, and
diversity matters. Let's get some more of them up in here. Okay? And instead of the Star Spangled Banner, that's right. You can get some men marching. That's right, folks, with little tutus on, and they can start singing It's Raining Men. Okay?
diverse work teams outperform non-diverse work teams, and so bringing that diversity forward, regardless of whether it's an international diplomatic conversation or on the mess deck at the small boat stations. That,
okay, let me show you. Now let me show you what went down.
The president posting the White House is actively in the process of identifying and removing over 1,000 presidential appointees from the previous administration that are not aligned with our vision. The administration firing the head of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan, the first woman to lead a branch of the U.S. military, relieved of her duties. President Trump touting more sweeping changes on his first full day in office, appearing with top tech CEOs at the White House, including Oracle's Larry Ellison, announcing a massive $500 billion investment in AI in the U.S. He says will create 100,000 jobs. Also, President Trump was...
Yeah, okay. See, they sneaked that in there, right? AI is going to replace, because this is the first stage of the purge. Is Trump purging America? Absolutely. He's bringing in foreigners to replace Americans, but he's getting who out the paint first? He's getting the DEI, the small percent of people that were being used as buffers against us. Okay? He's getting them out of the paint first. And then they're bringing in a whole new workforce. You notice when you pick up your phone and call customer service, you're speaking to someone from another country. Well, those dollars used to be American dollars, incomes within the border, until Bill Clinton signed the NAFTA agreement decades ago that would put all of these jobs offshore and embolden these same people in India, Asia, and others to begin to come to school, get educated in America under diversity and or inclusion, so that they can bring their children in to undermine the children of Israel in America. That's why they brought Elon Musk from someplace else. The guy you see here from someplace else. So when they say $500 billion towards new jobs, it's speaking of bringing in the other people to replace the children of Israel. Fair use.
Was asked, would he support Elon Musk buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it.
Of course he would be. But yeah, this is
of identifying and removing over 1,000 presidential appointees from the previous administration that are not aligned with our vision. The administration firing the head of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan.
This was beautiful right here. This was wonderful.
The administration firing the head of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan, the first woman to lead a branch of the U.S. military.
Beautiful. Out of here. Okay? So don't let them lie to you and claim that the executive order Trump signed was to get rid of what was signed for our people in the civil rights movement. That's a bold-faced lie. DEI has nothing to do with that. Only an act of Congress can get rid of what was codified in law during civil rights. Okay? This executive order Trump signed was to get rid of the executive orders of Joe Biden and or Barack Obama. Okay? Where under their administrations, they were able to undermine our people, the tribe of Judah here in America, under diversity, equity, and inclusion and multiculturalism led by Reverend Al Sharpton. Okay? They used him as a Trojan horse to claim that diversity was for black people. Okay? Now, what they did under this is they were able to take the money that was allocated to our people who built the country and give it to the gays and others under DEI, totally stifling all of the work our people have done since slavery to receive anything for building the country. So DEI is the enemy, and I'm glad he has killed it. Now, let's go. Check this out, folks. Fair use. Is Trump purging America?
Federal agents launched raids in one of the first visible signs of President Trump's mass deportation plan coming together. Raids targeted violent individuals in Boston earlier today. It's what's known as a worst first approach, first prioritizing the arrests of gang members and murder suspects. The Trump administration says it arrested 538 illegal immigrants today in what it says is the beginning of the largest deportation operation in history. But there are still questions about what this might look like on a larger scale, and Fox 4's Casey Stiegel in studio tonight with more on that. Casey.
Yeah, hey there, Steve. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials wasting little time under the new administration. Agents carrying out raids in certain parts of the country targeting violent criminal offenders in the United States illegally and wanted by law enforcement. Fox News cameras were there to capture some of the action.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything.
My man said Biden forever. Thank you, Obama. Thank you, Biden. All right? You see, now y'all starting to see they was using all of this to undermine Judah because Judah began to wake up the world. We began to wake up in America and realize the game they've been playing on us through the Democrat Party. See? We started waking up and letting everyone know who we are and who these others who claim to be us are. And we began to ask copious, what I would say, serious and important questions. How is it that Jewish people received anything for what happened to them over in Germany when the Holocaust we suffered, which is slavery in America, receives nothing? We started asking questions because if they're the Jews through converts and can receive all that, then what should the Judites of America, the people who've suffered by the hands of whites, whether they be Anglo or white Jews, what should we receive? And we started asking questions. See? And we started waking people up in the sports arena. Not only the sports arenas, the rappers started waking up, like Ice Cube, like Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, okay? Kendrick Lamar, who's going to start the Super Bowl this year. They're not like us. We started putting the word out, and they used DEI, less than 1% of the United States, to undermine us and steal our finances so that they couldn't fuel the true message, so that they can take finances away from the true messengers. Okay? But we're not going for it. And then when they used gays, lesbians, DEI, and then they started using immigrants from other places to undermine us, to try to silence the message. But you know what? The more they come against Judah, the more the lion roars. We know they're trying to throw everything out to drown out the message. But guess what? Judah's back. You can throw DEI, you can throw trans, DEI, you can throw whatever you want. Immigrants, but you cannot stop what the Most High God said, what the Most High God prophesied, that at the end of time, he would begin to awaken the children of Israel. You can't stop that. So they've been trying to undermine us, divide and conquer, black woman against black man, black woman against black man, and the same people fueling this under DEI against us. Okay? So this part of the purge, folks, I have no problem with. Get rid of DEI. We have always found a way. Okay? God's people have always found a way. We don't need DEI. We came out of chattel slavery. And seeing what they're not telling us is how many people that was DEI who were white, who was actually buck breaking and doing all types of demented, satanic, perverted things to our people coming off the slave ships. Right? So you think they weren't white, gay, racist? You didn't think so? So the whole thing is we're getting some get right, and we're making clear delineating lines so that people can understand right from wrong, good from evil, so that they can make a choice on what side to stand on. Everyone must choose a side. No more standing in the middle anymore. Sisters, you're going to have to stand with your brothers or you're going to get totally eradicated. You have to stand under your brothers. LGBTQ, DEI, all of them been using you against us in the court systems and everything else. And they don't care about you, or you wouldn't be at the bottom of the incomes of all groups within the United States. You're going to have to realize that they've been using you politically, lying to you so that they can attack the men because they're cowards. They cannot face the men face to face. So they have to use our women who we care about in the wedge against us. Okay? So yeah, the purge is on.
An expletive-laced tirade from a Haitian migrant as he was taken into custody during a recent ICE raid outside of Boston. Federal agents say the man has a long rap sheet with 17 criminal convictions. The feds picking up.
And see, this is how you know this is straight racist, right? You notice when it came to our brothers who were from the 10 tribes, the Latinos, the 10 tribes, Issachar and others, you notice they had the faces blurred out, right? They had the faces blurred out. But look who face they didn't blur out. See, this is subliminal demonization, folks, without them even saying it. This have now become the face of illegal immigration. So now they can pivot and say, you know what? I'm profiling some guys who live on the block who look like him. And these people might be the people who came over in slave ships, but we just have to check their paperwork to make sure they didn't flee here from Haiti. See how they doing this? So we need to really look into, in a year or two, it's not going to be him. It's going to be the tribes of Israel, the tribes of Judah here in America. All right?
A long rap sheet with 17 criminal convictions. The feds picking up at least 8 different targets on this one particular mission, including some.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. This is what I say. Didn't Biden let in the illegals? So we say, pardon him and charge Fauci. Okay? Yeah. Let's do a race draft real quick. Okay? All due respect to Dave Chappelle. I'll tell you what, we'll trade you, right, his charge, and you give us Fauci, and let's put his charges. Why not pardon this guy? All the pardons that you've done, Biden, you let in the immigrants. Why don't you pardon this guy and let Fauci be charged instead of giving him preemptive pardons? Let's make this clear. Who needs preemptive pardons who are innocent? The people that are innocent don't need preemptive pardons. So what did Fauci do wrong that Biden needed to pardon him? So we say, well, no, you let the illegals in, right? That's what you call them, illegals. Well, I'll tell you what, pardon him and charge Fauci. How about that?
Long rap sheet with 17 criminal convictions. The feds picking up at least 8 different targets on this one particular mission, including several MS-13 gang members. According to ICE, this Dominican national was wanted for assault with a deadly weapon.
Well, I'm going to have to segue over and talk about this. If you have any questions, any doctrinal questions or whatever, you can be able to join me on the other side of Patreon, because I'm going to talk about this and more. Right? But before I segue over, right? There was a sister who came on to our broadcast Wednesday night. Right? Wednesday night, this sister who said that she came to a church in New York before. And I'm going to ask this sister, I'm going to ask this sister, if you're listening to this, sister, in the chat right here, sister, if you're listening tonight, I'm going to need you to come in through Zoom, because I would like to speak to you. All right? You asked a few questions that I couldn't answer on YouTube. But here's your opportunity through Patreon to come and ask the elders questions unfiltered right here. If anyone have any doctrinal questions or anything, guess what? The link is in the chat right here. Before I segue over to Patreon, one thing I did notice, sister, if you're listening, is those curtains. I've been all around the world, okay? And it's something familiar about these curtains that are behind you, okay? Listening to them. I'm going to tell you right now. So, see, what I need you to do, right, is take the first step. Go to a church and be guided by men, trusted men of the Most High, who listening to them. I'm going to tell you right now. So, see, what I need you to do, right, is take the first step. Go to a church and be guided. Yeah, we're gonna find out who you were speaking to right here too, right? I know those curtains, and it's okay. Let's talk. All right. Of course, you said that at the time the other night that you couldn't say anything about your location due to security issues or whatever the case is. But then you're going to ask me questions about firearms, right? I'm like, hold up. The only firearm I know is the Bible. So it's interesting that you wanted to protect yourself security-wise, right? But you're going to ask me a question on YouTube about firearms? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk. So again, because I want to help you, actually. I'm not going to come against you. I'm here to help you, believe it or not. So, sister, I've placed the Zoom. We going on Patreon right now. I'm going to go over. I put the Zoom in the chat. Okay. Well, one thing I know about those curtains, right? I'm going to say this. The curtains look a little Middle Eastern. And that chair in particular is telling. All right? That's all I'm going to say right there, right? That's all. Sister, if you need help, it's time for you to reach out. It's time. I know you probably, it was really a silent call for help without saying it. The Zoom is right there. The Zoom is right there. We're going to talk on the other side, Patreon. Also, if something happened where there's not an opportunity for you to come on Patreon, send an email. I'll have Elder Lawyer on standby to respond immediately to your email. Okay? GOCC South. That's SOUTH. GOCC South at yahoo.com. Email us. We would like to speak to you because you need guidance. We're here. I'm extending an olive branch. We're going to have to talk. You were led someplace, and we're going to help you. GOCC South at yahoo.com. Send us an email. We'll talk to you. You're not our enemy. We're going to help you. Okay? Again, I know you're probably looking right now. You've been watching for a while. You couldn't call through Blog Talk because you're in another country. But it's okay. Zoom gave you the opportunity to click a link to come in to speak. And I extend an invitation. Any doctrinal issues, any doctrinal scenarios we can work out, any questions y'all have about the church, doctrinal-wise, or anything, guess what, folks? I'm going to put an hour on Patreon right now as an elder of this Gathering of Christ Church with Elder Lawyer. If you want to come in to help assist me, that would be a blessing too, to answer any questions anyone might have. Whether you follow the church, believe in the church, or even if you are against the doctrine of the church, here's your opportunity. The link is right there in the chat. Right? Now, my loyal Patreonies, you can take the link too, because I'm going to put it in the Patreon chat and have y'all come in. If you have any questions, we can talk. Sister, you said that your husband took a vaccine and you noticed something different after he took that. I need you to come in because I want to hear that testimony. I didn't forget. I didn't forget you, sister. You said you wanted to talk about what happened when your husband took the vaccine. Come on in and let's talk. Let's talk. Right? Now, speaking of let's talk, we're coming into a new Hebrew and Bible Academy. We're going to talk about what? Many things. Real-time news, especially right now. historytimes.org to enroll, and the theme will be the War of the Gods. Who is really controlling things outside of our politicians? That's right, folks. The gods that were worshipped throughout ancient, from time to memorial, through time immemorial. People talk about Zeus, the Sumerian gods, and they claim that these were myths. Folks, it's not myth at all. They've been hiding the gods they've been worshiping behind closed doors in these mountains like Area 57, the mountains in Afghanistan, the spirits that are in the Great Pyramid, Azazel, who's bound there under the name Osiris. The gods of the nations, folks, exist. Christ is coming to put his foot on them. And guess what? I can prove it. That will be the war of Armageddon. There will be an invisible war, a realm war before the war becomes physical on earth. And I'm going to drop something, folks. The realm war has already begun. I'll be talking about this and more week 2 of our Hebrew and Bible Academy. You must join the academy to get the exclusive studies that we send to you because a lot goes into it. Okay? The origin of angels. Number 1, the reason Adam fell. The true power man has. And I'm going to tell you the greatest weapon since the beginning against Adam's power was and is psychology. See, if they can teach you the law of physics, then your mind is predisposed to what? Adjusting to the limitations you've been taught. See? That's why they teach the law of physics. Not that it's science, to tell man what is their true limitations. And if you believe that, guess what? You cap off yourself from understanding that there is a law beyond the physical one. And this is what they want Adam to believe. Adam can be limitless. But if they can teach in their science, well, here's the law of physics, here's the law of this, then through psychology, folks, you'll never aspire to operate above that. And Christ understood this. This is why he was able to do the supernatural. He wasn't bound by the psychology that restricts man. How can Adam break free? That and more in the academy. He had to give Eve the fruit so that Eve could do what? Bring Adam under subjection, under a law. But folks, Adam was free. He was connected to the heavens. The law of physics had no power over him until he subjected himself to whom the Most High placed under him. That and more. The reason Adam fell, boy, is that going to be a lesson. The true understanding of the Antichrist. Yes, sir. Yes. Hey, we going in. We're going to teach this academy like it's our last 3 months to do so. Okay? The true doctrine of the Gentiles. You got Hebrews lying out there claiming that Gentiles cannot be saved. That's a lie. You have Christians out there claiming that Gentiles replace the Israelites and they all will receive the same under Christ if they believe. That's a lie. Okay? That's a lie. When they say fellow heirs, it doesn't mean the Gentiles is going to have the same as Israelites. Because under a kingdom, you have what? The inner court and the outer court. So fellow heirs, that means you will make it in the kingdom, but Gentiles aren't going to have the equal portion of the kingdom with Israelites. But I'll tell you what, Gentiles going to have more over that side than they have here. So Gentiles can be saved, and I'm going to prove that. And more live interviews in the academy, go to historytimes.org. And I'm so glad. I thank the Most High that the Most High, even if you're using government, is getting these crazed nut jobs out of the paint. With that, we will see you over on Patreon. Go to Patreon.com/AGathering144. I can already see a few people are waiting on Zoom to come on in. If you have any doctrinal questions, whatever you want to talk about, 1 hour with the elders, let's go. Let's bring in the Sabbath, and you know what? After that, we'll rest. With that, I'm going to say shalom. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. If you want to support the church with Cash App, $GOCC report is your support for these particular weekly broadcasts. If you don't have Cash App, go to gatheringofchrist.org, hit donate, and I'm sure there'll be an option there in which you can continue to actually support the work that's shining a light on darkness. That's right, the Gathering of Christ Church. We are the children of Israel, and yes, we're back. I'll see you over on Patreon. Shalom. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra-biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.